Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're going to talk about something very important, and that is how do I get my green WOF certification for my camper van. I'm still getting texts and emails and photos sent to me every day from people who are a little bit confused. They're not sure what they need to do and how to get upgraded from a blue to a green. So today we're going to go over all the basics. Hopefully I will keep it simple and straight to the point, so you'll have a good understanding of what you need to do to get that van certified and get out freedom camping. Right, the main two issues you have to consider when getting certified, whether it's for the blue or the green or any other color. One is your toilet, obviously. How do you fit that? Does your existing toilet meet the new standards? How do you manage it and empty it? We're going to talk about that. And obviously your water, your fresh water, your wastewater or your grey water. How do you manage that, and how does that meet the rules for the green WOF certification? Do you need to upgrade anything if you have the blue certificate already? So those are the main two issues we're going to touch on today. But before we go any further, guys, I want you to hit the like and also the little bell icon, because we'll be upgrading and updating these videos as we go. So if you're a camper or you have a camper van, if you hit the bell icon and subscribe, you'll be informed when we do new videos, so you can stay up to date with the news or any changes and things that happen in the camping world that you need to be aware of. Right, let's get started with the biggie, the one that's caused the most headaches and issues for people as they upgrade or build that camper van. The rules have changed quite a bit over the last 12 months or 2 years. So how do they stand right now? What is the issues? Okay, so here's the basics. I'm going to keep it basic and simple for you guys. We build vans here at Van Man Mansion every day, every week. I think this year we're going to hit 200 camper vans that we've built, and they've all been certified and met the rules. So we know a little bit about what we're doing, okay? Okay, the basic rules as they stand. 1, the toilet must be fixed. In other words, it must be fixed to either the wall or the floor, and it does not need to be moved to have the cassette or for the toilet to be emptied. Okay, this is the one we put in our KVM camper vans. It has a cassette, and you can empty it by pulling out the cassette from the back. And these get screwed down to the floor inside here, so it is permanently fixed down, and you can empty it just by sliding the cassette out the back. Our vans have a sliding door on both sides, so this backs up to the sliding door. You can open the sliding door and you can just empty the cassette and put it back, and it works brilliantly. It's a beautiful, this is pretty much a luxury toilet, guys. This is the cream a la cream of all the toilets, okay? They are just beautiful, really nice toilets, and these go into all the KVM camper vans. Now, there was a rule passed, it was a while ago, that the toilets had to have a breather hose. In other words, the waste tank had to have a breather hose that came up and down through the floor. And we made a few vans like that to meet the rules, but thank goodness they changed that law. Common sense prevailed, and from now on we do not need the breather hose on this waste tank. It is a sealed unit, and there's never going to be any problems with any smells or fumes coming out of it. I 100% guarantee that, unless you leave the lid off and leave it open, of course. So these are our cassette toilets. They get fixed down to the floor. Now, they must be able to be used at all times, okay? And the reason for this is that a lot of people in the past were getting lazy. They didn't want to set up the bed. They didn't want to bring it out of the cupboard or slide it out of the box. So they just go outside into the trees and do the business. And this was really littering up the camping grounds. So they made a rule. The toilet must be able to be used at all times, so that even in the middle of the night when the bed is made up, you can still get up and use the toilet. Now, KVM camper vans have always had toilets that can be used anytime. They've always been tucked in behind a privacy wall and always very accessible. So we haven't had to make any changes like that in regards to being able to be used at any time at KVM. That's the way our vans have always been designed. They have the privacy wall, so you're not out in the middle. Everyone who's sleeping in the van can see you. Okay, so that's just the way our design is. It is brilliant, I gotta say. Now, well, I'm biased, of course. Now, the other little thing in that rule about being used when the bed is made up, if you have to shift part of the bed, for example, if the bed folds out to a double and the toilet is at one end, you can move part of the bed so that you can use the toilet. That is acceptable and legal, okay? And it's something they've just adjusted. They've had to adjust it, the rules. They've had to be a little bit flexible and let a little bit of common sense prevail in some areas. Now, I can imagine some of you out there thinking, oh, we don't have that beautiful KVM cassette toilet. How's our toilet going to be legal? We only have a little porta potty. Well, the porta potties can work and they are absolutely legal, guys. But like I said, they must be attached to the wall or the floor so that you can empty them without moving the main base or the main toilet. So, here we are. Here is the typical porta potty. They're cheap as. You get what you pay for. They don't look very nice, but they're cheap. Well, they're not that cheap actually. Prices are going up all the time. Yeah, they're not cheap, to be honest. But they used to be, like everything. They don't look very nice. They're basic, but they do the job, and they can do the job very, very well. They come in a 10 litre or a 20 litre. The ones we have are 20 litres, and we've got some here available. Now, these must be fixed to the floor or the wall. So how do you fix a porta potty in place permanently? Well, you use one of these brackets. Now, you can get these brackets from us. We have some brackets here, and we can put it together for you and put it into your van if that's what you need. These are a little bit cheaper than the nice cassette toilets that I showed you previously, but they're still not cheap. These are not cheap, okay? They're heavy, they're metal, they're being beautifully made, powder coated, so they are a beautiful piece of kit. But you've got to have these, you've got to have some sort of bracket to fix this toilet down to the floor. So how do these work? This will go in this way. This one holds the main base of the toilet. In this case, the main base of the toilet is the top. So this bracket grips the main base of the toilet. So you undo the clips, lift up the main base, and then you take out the bottom cassette, empty it, bring it back, put it in here, and redo the clips. And all the time, this bracket here is holding the main base attached to the floor. So it works and it is perfectly legal. So if you have a little porta potty, you can make it work by getting yourself one of these brackets, okay? Get yourself one of these brackets. Now, if you're not in Auckland or you don't want to get one from me, that's fine. Go to Burns Co, somewhere like that, and they will have these brackets for you there. And that's how you make your porta potty legal, okay? It's got to be attached to the floor. Now, don't forget, when you attach it, you still need to be able to use it at all times. So even when your bed is made up at night, you still need to be able to get up and go to the toilet, okay? So that's the thing. That's what you need to worry about. That's what you need to think about. And I'm sure with a bit of Kiwi ingenuity, you can cut and chop and adjust your old van to make it work if you have to. Now remember, guys, all these rules and changes, they're only applicable if you want to go off the grid and freedom camping. You want to go out into the wop-wops and the back roads and the forests and the mountains and all those kind of places. But if you're staying at a camping ground or a caravan association park, or there's different places like that you stay at, holiday parks, you do not need the green certification, so you do not need to worry so much about all these regulations. You could stay at a camping ground with no certificate, no green or blue or anything else. Just park in your van and sleep in it at a holiday park or a campground with no worries at all. If you can sleep in a tent at a campground, surely you can sleep in the back of a van at a campground. Tents don't have certifications, do they? So you'll be absolutely fine with none of this if you're going to stay at a camping ground or holiday parks, okay? However, if you're going off the grid, you want to go into the mountains and freedom camp wherever you want, you need to take a good note, and you need to make sure that you adhere to all these rules and regulations. Now, that's the toilet out of the way. Any other questions, put them in the comments below. I'm not sure when I will get time to answer them, but I will do my best. And let's move on now to how do you manage your fresh water and your grey water. Right, so here we've got 2 containers. I'm going to explain the way we do it at KVM Campervans, and you can just translate that and put that into perspective on how you're going to make it work for yourself, what you've got in your van. You may have different bottles, different shapes, or a different cupboard or setup, but I'm going to explain the basics so you can get these 2 water bottles certified with the green certificate. Okay, so let's say this one is our fresh water, this one is for our wastewater, and up here we've got our sink, or our sink and our tap. Okay, now you need to have, these are 25 litres fresh, 25 litres waste. Okay, now the main thing is you need to get you need to be able to use your fresh water. So you need to have a sink or a container or somewhere where you can put your fresh water so it can be used. You can have a pump tap or an electric tap. KVM Campervans, we have an electric tap. You just push the button and the water comes out into your bowl. It's just a beautiful thing, guys. So you need to be able to get the water from your fresh bottle into your sink. So you need that. You'll need a hose going up. And also, this must be out of the sunlight, okay? It must be dark or out of the sunlight. These are opaque bottles, plastic bottles. They are food quality bottles. That is very, very important when you're buying your containers. Make sure they are food quality, food standard. And they've got to be out of the sunlight. They can't be exposed to direct sunlight. So we keep ours in our cupboard and our kitchen cabinet, our sink cupboard, and it's all closed. And no sunlight, no direct sunlight sort of goes in there. They're in the dark, so that is perfectly fine and legal. Okay, so we've got our fresh water here with a hose going up to the tap, okay, which gets pumped out into the sink. Now, the wastewater we need to get from the sink into the waste tank. So that water, as it comes down out of the sink, it moves through the tube. It's got to have a smell trap. So that hose that comes down from the sink has got to have a bit of a loop in it. It's got to go down. It's got to have an S-bend. I think that's what they call it, an S-bend. So the pipe coming down from the sink has an S-bend, and then it goes into your wastewater tank. Okay? Now, there's another thing, and that is the breather hose. The waste tank must have a breather hose. There's no set measurement or thickness for that breather hose. It's basically a hose for air to travel through. Any smells can come out of the tank. They don't go into the van. They go outside the van. So that breather hose is going to come up past the bottom level of the sink, and then that breather hose is going to go down and out through the floor. Okay? Can't go out through the window. Can't go out through a crack in the door. It's got to go out down through the floor. It's only for air. So I think the ones in KVM Campervans are about 12. They're about 12, about the thickness of your finger. I won't put up the middle finger. You might get insulted by that. I'll use this finger. It's about the thickness of that finger, and it comes out, goes up past the level of the sink and down through the floor. Now this is what I mean by an S-bend. A smell trap for your wastewater. So this would connect to your wastewater tank, and this would connect to the plug hole in your sink. Okay, and a little bit of water sits in the bottom of the S-bend, and that's what stops any smell coming out of the wastewater tank. Now you can get little attachments that go from your sink to your wastewater tank, and they have a breather or a smell trap inside them. Okay, if you can get one of those attachments or fittings, be quite good. Not sure where you'd get it, but typically the KVM camper vans, they will have an S-bend in the hose above the waste water. Okay, and that creates the smell trap that you need. Okay, to be legal, you need to have that on your wastewater tank. Now, if you have a flexi hose, for example, it would need to be bigger than this probably, but it would come down from your plug hole in your sink, and then it would have a loop, have a little loop like that, if you can see that, and then that would go into the waste. So you can do it that way as well with a bendy hose. Okay. Now also, your freshwater and wastewater containers must be secure, so they must be strapped tight in place, or in our case they're inside a cupboard. They're a very strong wooden cupboard that holds them in place very tight, so that means they are secure. Okay, so they can't be falling all around the place in the van. They must be strapped or very secure and set in position. Right, so that's the big issues dealt with: the toilet and the fresh and waste water. There are a couple of other things, so let's deal with those now. One, you must have a rubbish bin, okay, with a closing lid. Okay, it can't be a plastic bag hanging up on the wall. You must have a rubbish bin with a closing lid. So these are the beautiful bins we use in the KVM camper vans. You could use a big plastic container that has a closable lid. That will be absolutely fine as well. Now it needs to be fit for purpose. Okay, it can't be a little wee toy plastic thing. It's got to be a reasonable size so you can actually put rubbish in it and you can use it. Okay, so that's the rubbish bin with a closing lid. You've got to have one of those, guys. The other thing, you need somewhere to sleep. Now it's in the inspector's right, it's within his right to use some discretion in regards to whether your van is fit for purpose. Now if he sees the toilet and you are hunched up like you're doing some kind of special yoga maneuver, he may fail your van because he believes that the toilet is not fit for purpose. Okay, so he does have the right to fail your van if he believes it's not fit for purpose. So you don't need to be sitting bolt straight upright like a guard at the Royal Palace. You can be slouched sitting on your toilet like most people are, of course, at home. They're slouched these days. They're either in deep thought or they're playing on their phone or reading the newspaper. If you have to slouch a little bit, as long as you can comfortably sit on your toilet and use it, then it is deemed fit for purpose. Okay, there are no set measurements, like it's got to be 6 inches out from the wall on each side, it's got to have 900 to the roof and all that. Doesn't exist. It just must be fit for purpose. Now if an inspector brings out a piece of paper and says it's got to be 6 inches from the wall, 900 from the roof, or the guys, that is invalid. That piece of paper and those rules have been dreamt up by some organization that is not actually legal. Okay, so they cannot fail you on a piece of paper that they have printed out themselves from their own organization. Okay, there is no measurements set for the bed in its position, but it must be fit for purpose. Okay, so that's what you need to think about. You can use it comfortably. Now it's the same with the bed. If you have no bed in your camper van, nowhere to sleep, the inspector may fail you and say the camper van is not fit for purpose. So you need to be able to show where you're going to sleep. You must have some kind of bed. Doesn't have to be a fancy 4-poster. It can be a squab on the floor and the sleeping bag. Doesn't particularly say what kind of bed you need, but you must have somewhere to sleep. You must have some kind of bed for the camper van to be fit for purpose. So keep those things in mind as well. Right, I think that pretty much covers everything, guys. It is not rocket science. It is pretty basic, really. And I've just covered the bare basics and tried to keep it simple for you. Now, I want you to spread this video around, guys. Put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter, put it everywhere you can. Let people know what is involved, because there is still a lot of confusion out there. There are people that are failing their certifications with some organisation. They've paid their money, but they failed. They can't get their certification because of these little rules that they've printed out on paper, like measurements for the toilet and things that don't exist. They're getting failed because of that. So you need to be aware of the truth, what's happening, and the basics, and what is legal and what is not legal. So spread this video around. I get stories all the time of people who've gone to get their vans certified and they've failed because of some little rule or regulation that I can't even find. It doesn't exist, and it really annoys me. Okay, or people buy a second-hand camper van and they're told it's going to meet the rules, no problems at all. They come to me to get certified, and there's all sorts of work that needs to be done, and it's expensive to get all this work done. So share this video around so that people know what they're up for before they buy an old camper van. They can use this, take notes when they're going to buy a van, and tick all the boxes. Make sure it either has a green certification or that it ticks all the boxes, and they can come to me and it's going to just fly through and get the certification. Okay guys, I hope this video has been useful and helpful to you. Spread it around all over the internet, let it go viral so that people know what has to be done and what they're up for before they pay out their money and buy an old van. Or if they're going to upgrade the van that they have, they at least know what they're up for. And you can contact KVM Campervans. Check out our website on kvmcampervans.com. You'll see all the products you need there to build your van and to get it certified. We have a lot of products there for sale, and of course we have vans in stock as well. So spread the video around, let people know what it's all about to get your green certification, your green WOF. Don't forget, click the like, make a comment if you like, hit the bell icon, and you'll be updated when we do more videos on this subject or other camping videos. Stay safe guys, keep well, thanks for watching, and enjoy your camping. Cheers, over and out.